Hello, one and all. Welcome to another episode of MMA Vision Analysis. This one, I'm here to talk about Tom Aspinall and his comments after the fight, the night of UFC 304, his suggestion of just blatantly fighting Alex Pereira, because I think the guy realizes that Jon Jones is nowhere near coming back to the octagon anytime soon. At least that's what the news suggests. But before getting into this video, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and click that notification to get all of this that is new from this channel, your channel, the one and only MMA Vision Analysis. Tom Aspinall defeats Curtis Blaydes, first round knockout. Some may suggest that it was an early stoppage. It doesn't matter. I think Daniel Cormier, good guy, bad guy, along with Chael Sonnen, Daniel Cormier kind of summed it up nicely. He said, you have guys that are that size, when they do land punches, and the punch that actually landed and put Curtis Blaydes down was a jab. That fight was ended with a jab. So just imagine the power that Tom Aspinall has on him. Former light heavyweight champion Daniel Cormier suggested is that when the referee's inside of the octagon, he's hearing those shots and he's hearing the impact of those shots, then it's different from watching it on TV or somewhere in the crowds where you're a bit distant from the actual fighters. So therefore, in that way, if we're looking at it that way, then it was not an early stoppage. It was stopped right in time, because you don't want guys taking unnecessary damage when the fight is truthfully over. So I kind of agree with that part. But was it a premature stoppage? I think that is definitely debatable. If you were to ask Curtis Blaydes, I think he would probably more than likely tell you that it was an early stoppage. Maybe many other people would agree with him, but at the end of the day, effectively, Tom Aspinall right now defeated Curtis Blaydes, and he did mention a four-man basically competition to determine who is truly the best heavyweight on the planet. And the suggestion was Stipe Miocic versus Jon Jones, and Tom Aspinall versus Alex Pereira. Here, I'm here to specifically talk about the Tom Aspinall Alex Pereira suggestion. I've spoken about this possibility before, even before the night of UFC 304. I did suggest that, my belief till this moment, actually, I think that, Alex Pereira is perhaps the most likely fighter to face a Tom Aspinall. In all honesty, for Tom Aspinall, this fight here is going to be the most bang for your buck type deal. Yes, you can fight guys like Kane, you can fight guys like, you name it. But in all honesty, you defeated Curtis Blaydes to defend your interim title, and the idea was to unify that title against Jon Jones, a guy that supposedly has a fight against Stipe Miocic. Nobody really knows how Miocic is doing amongst all the chaos, in all honesty. Personally, with all respect to the former heavyweight champion here, arguably the best heavyweight champion of all time, Stipe Miocic, but I think Stipe is done. As a matter of fact, I think Stipe has been done. With all respect to Miocic here. So Jon Jones, Stipe Miocic, yes, it sounds like it makes sense, just because these two, are due for a matchup, but it just does not look like that Stipe Miocic will be stepping a foot in the octagon again, even though that's what everything kind of suggests, Jones versus Miocic. Obviously, we have the interim champion that's defended his title at this point, and I've said it before. I said it immediately after the night of UFC 304. I said I cannot imagine that the UFC is going to hold up that heavyweight division for much longer, because effectively Jon Jones and Miocic are well, John Jones specifically, with all respect to the greatest of all time, arguably, but he is holding up the division at this point. We need that title back in action. I did suggest that the UFC might suggest that, if it takes much longer, I mean, I do not put it past the UFC to ask John Jones to relinquish that title. I think it's a very feasible possibility, and this might be an option that the UFC can express moving forward. It all depends on when John Jones is cleared to come back. If the doctors do not clear him to come back, if there's surgeries that have to be done, if the guy needs a year and a half to recover, I just don't see the UFC and the heavyweight division waiting around for a guy named John Jones to come back to determine who is the best heavyweight of all time. Might as well just call it a career if you're a John Jones and you keep dealing with injuries and you perhaps some of those injuries require surgery. He is like 36 or 37 years old. He's not getting any younger. Last time I seen John Jones, he just didn't look like I said, the John Jones of 10 years ago. He's just looks like he looks like an older man. He looks like an older man. Father time is catching up to him. The valuable time is slipping through John Jones' hands. And I think if the dude doesn't come back at the end of this year, there's just no way that he will still be the title holder, say, come the same time next year if he does not involve himself in some kind of competition. That's John Jones. We talked about that. That's out of the way. Now we have the suggestion of Tom Aspinall versus Alex Pereira for that interim title. This is a fantastic suggestion. In all honesty, both fighters, I think, are ready to face one another. Let's say at the end of the year, just like Tom Aspinall suggested on the same card, even though this would be a far reach. I don't think that Dana White and the UFC will put John Jones, Stipe Miocic, Tom Aspinall, Alex Pereira on the same card. That would be a waste of fight. Really a waste of a main event, because both of those fights are main events, in all honesty. I don't put it past Alex Pereira to climb up to that heavyweight division. The inevitable move that I thought for Alex Pereira for the entirety of the time. I think it's inevitable that Alex Pereira moves up to that heavyweight division, whether it be this year at the end of it against Tom Aspinall, or maybe next year, beginning of the year, who knows. But, he has that possible Ankalaev fight, which I'm not sure how much Alex Pereira is interested in the Ankalaev fight. I think at this point, let's say 5-6 months from now, Tom Aspinall took little to no damage in his last fight against Blades. Same thing could be said for Alex Pereira against Prochazka. Took little to no damage against for Alex Pereira against Yuri Prochazka. Took little to no damage against Yuri Prochazka. And in all honesty, a few more pounds added for Alex Pereira, and we have perhaps something that's very feasible. Alex Pereira, Tom Aspinall for the interim heavyweight champion come the end of the year 2024 to cap off the year. A fantastic way, I think, to cap off the year. Number one. Number two, even if Miocic Jones don't fight, you could say the winner of this fight fights Jones. Even if he doesn't come back end of the year, let's say sometime beginning of the year 2025, let's say around April, May 2025, perhaps International Fight Week of 2025. But generally speaking, I'm not opposed to Alex Pereira, Tom Aspinall. I think it's a fantastic fight. As far as the champion of the division goes, nobody really knows how John Jones is doing. Nobody really knows where John Jones stands. There's just a lot of haze around the guy at this point. And it's a shame. It's a shame. The amount of time that John Jones was out of the octagon in the past 10 years was more than the time that he was in the octagon. Whether it be, I don't want to say suspensions, but he did have a bit of a controversy, let's say around 7 or 8 years ago, or around the time where he was fighting DC for the first and the second time. We had the allegations of PED use, and which ultimately kind of, and we hear a lot about troubles of John Jones outside of the octagon, getting involved with all types of random stuff. I'm not here to talk about the guy's personal life. I'm not a fan of that. But what I'm trying to say is that ultimately valuable years were wasted. From John Jones' career. Even though the guy has little to nothing left to prove, in all honesty. At the same time, he could call the career right now and he would still be considered the greatest of all time. I really hope that the UFC take away that DQ loss, just going back in retrospect and changing the decision, because I believe John Jones deserves that loss to be removed. Effectively, he was beating the dude up anyways, and sometimes you slip, and now the rules are changed, so there's nothing much to it. We could just change the DQ loss to a no contest, perhaps, and just call the guy undefeated, because he is undefeated till this point. John Jones is undefeated. Nobody really gave John Jones a hard time, except for perhaps Gustafsson in their first fight, not so much the second fight. Super excited to see what happens for Tom Aspinall, specifically in that heavyweight division, and I'm super interested in what happens for John Jones, moving forward. Stipe Miocic, I wish the guy the best. Alex Pereira, I have a lot of hopes and ambitions for. I'm really, really, really excited to see what Alex Pereira does in that heavyweight division, which is the inevitable move, I think, at this point. If you made it this far, I appreciate you for sticking around. Please let me know what you think in the comments, and subscribe for more.